Discipline 1. Wake up before dawn. 1. Real story. Ka-Shing grew up in a poor family in Chaozhou, China. When his father passed away, he was only 15 years old and had to leave school to support his family by working in a plastics factory. In that challenging situation, he realized that every hour of life was as valuable as gold. From an early age, he built the habit of waking up before dawn. While others were still asleep, he would read newspapers, study the market, and prepare for the day. Even after becoming one of the wealthiest men in Asia, this habit remained unchanged. He once said, "If you wake up 2 hours earlier than others every day, after 10 years, you will already be a lifetime ahead of them." 2. Principled discipline. Time is the most valuable asset. Money can be lost and regained, but once time passes, it is gone forever. The 2 to 3 golden hours in the morning are when the brain is at its sharpest and focus is at its highest. Successful people don't necessarily do more than others. They simply use their time more wisely. 3. Practical lessons for us. Wake up 2 hours earlier than usual. Spend 30 minutes on health, exercise, 30 minutes on intellect, reading, learning, and 1 hour on the most important task of the day. Clearly define your morning big task. Writing a plan, solving a tough problem, or making a key decision. Avoid wasting your morning on trivial activities, scrolling social media, checking random news. Discipline 2. Lifelong learning. 1. Real story. As a young boy, Ka-Shing's family was so poor that he couldn't complete his schooling. Instead, he had to work as a factory apprentice while other children his age were still studying. But instead of letting this hold him back, he transformed his lack of formal education into motivation to educate himself. After long hours of work each day, he would borrow books, newspapers, and trade journals to study on his own. He taught himself accounting, business management, market analysis, and even languages, all without formal instruction. He once said, "Knowledge is the best investment. It pays the highest dividends, and no one can steal it from you." Even after becoming a billionaire, Ka-Shing continued his daily reading habit. He would spend hours each day studying business, philosophy, and history, always striving to stay ahead of others. 2. Principled discipline. Never stop learning. Wealth and titles may fade, but knowledge compounds with time. Self-education is invaluable. Even without formal schooling, determination can create wisdom. Seek knowledge everywhere, from books, mentors, failures, and markets. It exists for those who search. 3. Practical lessons for us. Set aside at least 1 to 2 hours daily for structured learning. Books, courses, new skills. See learning as an investment, not just a pastime. Every new skill increases long-term value. Apply the 1% rule. Grow 1% each day, and within a year you'll be 37 times stronger. Build a circle of people smarter than yourself. As Ka-Shing believed, your network is your net worth. Key takeaway. For Ka-Shing, learning was never confined to schools. It was a lifelong discipline that sharpened his thinking, expanded his opportunities, and built the foundation of his empire. Discipline 3. Money management. The 5-part Formula 1. Real story. One of Ka-Shing's most well-known teachings is his 5-part money allocation method, which he frequently shared with young entrepreneurs. Even as one of Asia's richest men, he stressed financial discipline over indulgence. In his early years, even with limited income, Ka-Shing divided his money with care. He didn't wait until wealth arrived to practice money management. He achieved wealth because he managed money wisely from the start. His principle was clear. If you cannot manage a small sum, you will not be able to manage a large fortune. This discipline allowed him to save enough to launch his first plastics company in the 1950s, which eventually expanded into a massive empire spanning real estate, retail, telecommunications, and more. 2. Principle, discipline. The 5-part formula. Ka-Shing advised splitting income into 5 defined portions. 30%, living expenses, cover essentials like food, housing, and transportation. Live modestly, avoid unnecessary luxuries. 30%, business, career investment. Reinvest in work, training, tools, and business ventures. This is the portion that increases earning capacity. 30%, long-term investments. Real estate, stocks, or any appreciating assets. This creates the foundation for lasting wealth. 10%, emergency fund savings. Keep untouched for unexpected crises. This builds resilience and reduces financial anxiety. Extra allocation. Relationships giving. Use part of your resources to treat mentors, strengthen connections, and help others. Li Ka-Shing saw generosity as an investment in trust and goodwill. 3. Practical lessons for us. Start with what you have. Even with low income, divide it by percentage. The habit matters more than the amount. Avoid lifestyle inflation. Don't let spending rise just because income does. Stick to the system. Reinvest in yourself. Education, skills, and self-growth bring the highest returns. Focus on the long term. Wealth comes not from quick gains, but from consistent, disciplined investment. Key takeaway. Li Ka-Shing achieved wealth not because he earned more than others at the start, but because he mastered financial discipline through structured money management. Discipline 4. Investing in people. Relationships as assets. 1. Real story. Li Ka-Shing often stated that his greatest wealth was not money but the people around him. From the very beginning of his career, he placed immense value on trust, loyalty, and long-term connections. When he launched his plastics business in the 1950s, he had little capital. What he did have was credibility. Banks lent him money because he had established a reputation for honesty and reliability. Partners chose to collaborate with him because he consistently honored his commitments. Even after becoming one of the wealthiest men in the world, Li Ka-Shing was recognized for his humility and respect in relationships. He was deliberate about the people he surrounded himself with, knowing that the wrong partners could undo decades of effort. He once advised young people, if you want to succeed, make friends with people who are better than you, learn from them, grow with them, and you will rise together. 2. Principle, discipline. Relationships are capital. Money cannot always secure opportunities, but trust can unlock doors beyond its reach. Choose carefully. Surround yourself with mentors, partners, and friends who uplift you, not those who pull you down. Trust as currency. In business, credibility often outweighs cash in value. Give before receiving. Generosity creates goodwill, and goodwill often returns as opportunity. 3. Practical lessons for us. Invest in mentors. Respect teachers, seniors, and experts. Offer value first before seeking assistance. Be dependable. Always keep your promises, even small ones. Over time, this builds a reputation of reliability. Network intentionally. Form connections with people who inspire, challenge, and elevate you. Practice generosity. Dedicate a portion of your income to treat others, support your network, or help those in need. These invisible assets often bring unexpected returns. Key takeaway. For Li Ka-Shing, true wealth was not only in financial assets, but also in the quality of his relationships. Investing in people formed the cornerstone of his empire. Discipline 5. Discipline in decision-making. No emotions in business. 1. Real story. Throughout his career, Li Ka-Shing was known for his calm and rational judgment. While others panicked during market crashes or rushed greedily into booms, he stayed steady. For instance, during periods of economic uncertainty in Hong Kong, many investors sold their properties out of fear. Li Ka-Shing, however, viewed it as an opportunity. While others acted on panic, he carefully assessed the long-term value and acquired assets that later multiplied his fortune. Conversely, when markets overheated and crowds rushed in blindly, he had the discipline to hold back or sell. This ability to remain detached from the herd made him one of Asia's most successful investors. He once said, "Do not be greedy when others are greedy. Do not be fearful when others are fearful. Stay rational when others lose their minds." 2. Principle. Discipline. Detach from emotions. Decisions must be based on logic, not fear or greed. Think long-term. Avoid being influenced by short-term fluctuations. Independent thinking. Never follow the crowd without analysis. Risk awareness. Always measure the downside before pursuing the upside. 3. Practical lessons for us. Pause before deciding. When facing a major choice, analyze facts rather than reacting emotionally. Set clear rules. For business or investment, establish entry, exit, and risk limits ahead of time. Be cautious of the herd. If everyone is doing it, reconsider. Opportunities often lie elsewhere. Balance optimism with caution. Expect the best, but always prepare for the worst. Key takeaway. Li Ka-Shing's empire was built not only on bold strategies, but on disciplined, rational decisions. By mastering his emotions, he mastered risk, transforming uncertainty into opportunity. Discipline 6. Hard work beyond limits. 1. Real story. Li Ka-Shing is widely respected for his intelligence, but what truly distinguished him was his relentless dedication to work. In his youth, while employed at a plastics factory, he often worked 16-hour days. He went beyond basic duties, learning every aspect of production, supply chains, and customer needs. When he later established his own plastics company, this discipline of hard work became his edge. He understood every part of the business because he was willing to outwork everyone else. While many entrepreneurs searched for shortcuts, Li Ka-Shing built his empire step by step, driven by persistence. Even after becoming a billionaire, he was known to arrive at the office earlier than his staff and stay late into the night. His guiding belief was, before you want to be the boss, you must first be the best worker. 2. Principle: discipline. Outwork others. Hard work may not guarantee success, but without it, success is nearly unattainable. Avoid shortcuts. Lasting wealth comes through consistent effort, not luck. Gain mastery through labor. By working harder than others, you develop a deeper understanding of your business. Endurance as discipline. Building wealth requires stamina. Success is a marathon, not a sprint. 3. Practical lessons for us. Dedicate extra hours. If others work 8 hours, aim for 10 to 12, especially in your early stages. Over time, these hours compound. Learn thoroughly. Don't just work hard physically, apply mental effort. Master your craft until you know it in detail. Sacrifice comfort temporarily. In his early years, Li Ka-Shing often gave up leisure and luxury to prioritize growth. Consistency matters most. A week of hard work achieves little. Decades of consistent effort create empires. Key takeaway: Li Ka-Shing demonstrated that while intelligence and strategy are important, the ultimate advantage is relentless hard work. Success is not about a single moment of luck, but about countless disciplined hours that few are willing to commit. Discipline 7. Building trust and reputation. 1. Real story. In business, Li Ka-Shing's name became a symbol of trust. Long before he became one of Asia's richest men, he built his reputation on keeping his word, regardless of how small the deal was. While running his plastics business, there were times when market conditions changed and it would have been cheaper for him to break contracts. Yet he never did. He honored agreements even when it reduced his short-term profit. This integrity earned him the confidence of suppliers, banks, and partners. Because of this trust, banks were willing to provide him loans when others struggled to obtain financing. Partners felt secure entering long-term contracts with him. In an environment where many pursued quick profits, Li Ka-Shing understood that trust was more valuable than gold. He once said, "Money lost can be earned again." But once trust is lost, it is gone forever. 2. Principle: discipline. Reputation is capital. A strong reputation attracts opportunities, while a damaged one shuts them out. Always honor commitments. Every kept promise adds to the wealth of trust. Integrity above profit. Giving up short-term gains can secure long-term success. Consistency builds credibility. Trust develops over years of dependable behavior. 3. Practical lessons for us. Be dependable in small matters. If you fail in minor promises, no one will trust you with major ones. Protect your reputation. Never risk your name for temporary advantage. Exceed expectations. Delivering more than agreed strengthens confidence. Prioritize long-term trust over short-term profit. One broken deal might save you today but cost far more in the future. Key takeaway: for Li Ka-Shing, trust was the unseen cornerstone of his empire. His wealth grew not only from wise investments, but also from the trust that gave him access to opportunities unavailable to others. Discipline 8. The spirit of giving. 1. Real story. Although he was one of the wealthiest men in Asia, Li Ka-Shing was equally renowned for his philanthropy. Through the Li Ka-Shing Foundation, he contributed billions of dollars to education, healthcare, and poverty relief. Universities, hospitals, and research institutes worldwide bear his name as a testament to his generosity. What stands out is that Li Ka-Shing began giving long before he became a billionaire. Even in his early years, he set aside part of his income to support others, whether it was family, employees, or his community. He believed wealth came with responsibility. The wealth of a person is not measured by how much he has, but by how much he can give. This perspective did not diminish his fortune. Instead, it enhanced his reputation, deepened his relationships, and built trust with society. His philanthropy became a form of social investment, creating goodwill that money alone could not secure. 2. Principal discipline. Giving multiplies wealth. Generosity fosters opportunities, networks, and goodwill. Start small. You don't need to be wealthy to give. Even modest acts build the habit. Wealth is responsibility. Money should be used to uplift not only your own life, but also the lives of others. Giving inspires trust. People are drawn to those who care about more than just themselves. 3. Practical lessons for us. Allocate a portion for giving. Even 5 to 10% of income can have an impact. Give with purpose. Support causes aligned with your values, such as education, family, or community. Aim for lasting impact. Don't give once and stop. Develop a consistent pattern of generosity. Practice everyday giving. Beyond finances, share your time, knowledge, and encouragement. Key takeaway. Ka-Shing's success was not rooted in greed, but in generosity. By giving back, he not only helped countless people, but also built a legacy of trust, influence, and enduring respect. Discipline 9. Long-term thinking. 1. Real story. A major reason Ka-Shing surpassed other businessmen was his ability to think far into the future. While many entrepreneurs pursued short-term profits, he consistently focused on the bigger picture. In the 1950s and 60s, when Hong Kong remained unstable and real estate prices were low, Ka-Shing boldly invested in land. Many believed he was making a mistake, since property did not provide quick returns at the time. But he recognized its long-term potential. Decades later, those same properties were worth billions, establishing him as one of Asia's largest real estate tycoons. Likewise, he invested early in industries such as telecommunications and technology before they became mainstream, ensuring his empire stayed ahead of the curve. He once remarked, "Those who live only for today will remain ordinary. Those who plan for tomorrow will achieve greatness." 2. Principle, discipline. Delay gratification. Wealth comes from giving up short-term pleasures for long-term rewards. Identify trends early. The greatest opportunities appear long before they become obvious to most. Think in decades, not days. Sustainable success requires patience and vision. Build resilience. Long-term planning allows survival through crises and growth afterward. 3. Practical lessons for us: invest rather than spend. Instead of buying items that lose value, direct money into assets that appreciate over time. Use the 10-year test. Ask yourself whether this decision will still benefit you a decade later. Learn patience. The best investments often need years before showing results. Create a long-term plan. Define 5-year, 10-year, and 20-year goals and align daily actions with that vision. Key takeaway. Ka-Shing demonstrated that real wealth is built on patience and foresight. By thinking long-term, he turned risks into empires and transformed crises into opportunities. Discipline 10. Self-reflection and daily review. Real story. Even after becoming one of the richest men in Asia, Ka-Shing maintained a habit that many considered simple but powerful: daily self-reflection. At the end of each day, he would ask himself, "Did I make progress today? Did I waste time on trivial things? Did I act with honesty and discipline? What can I improve tomorrow?" This practice kept him grounded, disciplined, and constantly improving. He believed that wealth without discipline was temporary. By reviewing himself daily, he ensured his decisions aligned with his long-term vision and values. He once said, "The difference between success and failure is often the ability to examine yourself with honesty." 2. Principle, discipline. Self-review fuels growth. Improvement begins with awareness of your actions. Small daily corrections add up. Fixing minor mistakes every day prevents major failures later. Discipline is internal. True discipline comes from holding yourself accountable, not from external pressure. Clarity ensures consistency. Reviewing your actions keeps your life on the right course. 3. Practical lessons for us. Establish a nightly routine. Spend 10 to 15 minutes writing what you did well, what you failed at, and how to improve tomorrow. Ask, "Did I live by my principles today?" Align daily choices with larger goals. Track progress. Keep a journal of habits, finances, and achievements. Small wins accumulate. Be accountable to yourself. Don't rely on others to point out flaws. Be your own strictest critic. Key takeaway. Ka-Shing's success was not only from business acumen, but also from mental discipline. Through daily reflection, he ensured steady growth, resilience, and alignment with his long-term vision. With this, we've completed all 10 disciplines of Ka-Shing. Wake up before dawn, lifelong learning, money management, 5-part formula, investing in people, rational decision-making, hard work beyond limits, building trust and reputation, the spirit of giving, long-term thinking, self-reflection and daily review.